Fredbear and friends left to rot after a blind playthrough. I gotta say with complete and uttermost honesty that this game fucks. Each section of the game being new and fresh, having totally different systems to deal with, and having some situations where the game was actually able to give me a pretty good scare. What?
Hello, everybody.
Okay, so let's dive into why this game, which passes even some mainline levels of quality, is perhaps the greatest FNAF fan game I've ever played. Fredbear and Friends Left to Rot, which is created by, guess who? Garrett McKay. Now you probably realize at this point that Garrett McKay makes some pretty good fucking games to the point of where it's uncanny. Is Garrett actually human? Is he just God in disguise? And what the fuck is Five Nights at Fanny's? The game of course once started places us in this neat little menu which gives us a very big A Bite of Freddy's vibe because you know, the same person made both games. Starting the game leads up to this tape scene which shows Fredbear with some tape around his mouth which is probably due to him having too much of a fun time. We quickly undress both Fredbear and Spring Bonnie and then put on the new suits on the animatronic. After all of this, we finally jump into this office right here, where we are supposed to disconnect all audios and videos from the cameras, while Fredbear, Spring Bonnie, and this endoskeleton want to kill us. Fredbear and Spring Bonnie just want to hide under the desk so that you can get them to go away. In the endoskeleton, you want to blind with the flashlight.
Think fast, Chuckle Nuts!
Now, from the first area of this game, you might get the impression that, yeah, sure, this game is good, but is it really worthy being considered the best fan game of all time? And oh, my friend, we still have so much more to do. After you disconnect all the cameras and audios, you quickly move on into another VHS tape, which we get perhaps what is the worst voice acting for Freddy I've ever seen.
Hello there. Welcome to the interactive control tape for Fazbear Entertainment Animatronics.
Don't talk to me. After seeing whatever the hell this is, we move on to the storage room where we are presented to Max, who stays in this closet while we charge up the door. With it really not being difficult at all, the bad part really just being that this part is kind of obnoxious. It's very hit or miss. After this very slow-paced area of the game, we moved on to another cutscene, where we are put to test the arcades of the restaurant, where we are presented with the worst music soundtrack I've ever heard. One of the arcades glitches out and is brought back to be fixed. All that information being very futile, so we quickly gloss over that and jump straight into the third section of the game. We are put into what almost seems a FNAF 4 room, except smaller, with a vent behind us and two doors to our front and right. And finally, a little plushie called Roger, with a little turny thing, which I don't know what it's called. Your objective is here is similar to the last room. You slowly open the vent over here, and you flash both doors, stopping Nightmare Mousiki. Mousiki will also get pissed off at you if you don't spin the spinny thing over. Overall, this section is pretty fun. It's not difficult enough to rage over, and it's not easy enough to just sit there disappointed. It's pretty fun. It presents a fun and interesting challenge in what you expect to be something very simple, but good things don't last forever. And finally, we move on after opening the vent. Here we are presented with the exit, where clicking it will present us with exit. Let's go. Oh, okay. After being attacked, we wake up in this room where a springlock suit appears in front of us, with a tape from FNAF 3 playing, which explains to us how the springlock works. I personally reacted to the tape by kindly telling you to shut the fuck up. We open the suit, putting it on, where nothing much interesting happens, so we quickly move on to a new place, an office, where at first it might seem a little discouraging, you know, because having a fan game made in an office can either be the greatest thing you'll ever play or the worst. But quickly you learn that for an office it's actually quite fun. To your front is a hallway where Foxy will appear once in a while, and to make him go away, just turn off the lights by clicking over here. Bonnie will appear to your right, where you can get him to go away by just turning on a fan. And finally, Freddy and Chica can be stopped from coming into your office by closing the vents. But be wary, closing the vents will also cause the toxic levels in your office to rise, which is where your mask comes in, letting you breathe in fresh air. Overall, this section of the game is pretty fun. The dreaded 6 AM cycle returns, of course, we can't control the pace of the night, but it makes up by being honestly a very entertaining section of the game, because again, it's not boring and it's not too easy, it's nice, it's just perfectly balanced. But eventually we do need to move on, and we go on to another office area, which compared to the last isn't as interesting, but what does make up is no 6 AM night cycle. Instead, you control the pace of the night by slowly moving back the suit whenever its eyes are off. The other animatronics with the very creative names of Jeffrey, Barry, and Lewis are kind of easy to deal with my favorite definitely has to be Barry, who you stop by electrocuting the fuck out of it. The section that doesn't have too much going on and was honestly the easiest out of all the sections of the game. After some time bringing the suit all the way back, you're presented with this little click time event where you're supposed to electrocute the suit. He slaps your ass and congratulations, you got the bad ending. Now I could go on to explain how to get the better ending, but I feel like that would stretch the video beyond what is necessary. So how about we summarize what I've learned from over here. As much as I try to find issues with the game, I constantly saw myself not able to. The game is just good, plain and simple. Is it perfect? No, definitely not. I still have my issues, of course, but when it comes to a FNAF fan game, Fredbear and Friends has to be honestly the closest I've seen so far to a perfect game. A rating other than 4 out of 5 would just feel inappropriate. The game is insanely good, and a level of quality that I didn't expect when first booting up the game. A level that can only be described as Garrett quality. A silly term, I know, but one that perfectly describes it. Now, of course, this is just my opinion. So if you disagree with me, then feel free to scream at me at the comments. But if you find yourself still watching, then consider watching another video. For now, however, I will see y'all next time.